Yeah, what's going on, everybody? I'm behind the camera right now. Everybody log on. Let me know where you're watching from. Let me know what's going on. I am back at the mothership, back in Coburg, Oregon. Welcome to Marathon Mondays with Mal. Let me take this off so I can speak to you. We're going to keep our distance here. Hope everyone had a good weekend. I just flew back from the desert, and it's my honor to bring you a really cool look today. We're going to look at 1344 and 1343 in production. One's an X3, one is an H3, both double slides, you guys. Here's the deal. On these coaches, they're both about the same point in production. Wires have been pulled, cabinetry is going to start to be installed, and I want you to kind of see the differences before the cabinetry comes in and after the wiring has been pulled between the H and the X. So let's go check out this. Let's go check out this X first. This is 1344. Before we go in, Armand, you can get a good shot of the floor here. You see just how busy our production floor is. Jim Torrance watching, good friend of the show. Jim is like our quality control for the show. He remembers a lot of the episodes and he catalogs them and he helps us with the information that we put out. Putting out a show every week without fail is actually pretty fun, you guys, and I know a lot of you count on it, and that's why we continue to do it. All right, here we are, 1344. Now, this is, and I'm standing in it so you can see the difference between the height difference here. This is an X3 double slide. So Armand right now with the camera is standing in the actual slide out, where the slide out will go. And Armand, if you want to pan around to your right, you will see that there is the slide out situated down on the floor. And that's how we do installation. I know we've seen that a lot on Marathon Mondays, but that's how we do it. But as you can see, the wiring is being pulled and just kind of setting the infrastructure for the cabinetry to be brought in. I would say we're about 10 days from cabinetry being installed on this coach. I could be a little bit off there, all depending on what else is going on production. We got a lot of coaches being built at one time, and certain teams come in and do certain jobs on the coach. But this, as you can see, I'll start out here. This is walking into the X. There's no additional step up. Co-pilot seat will be right here, pilot seat's right here, and your living quarters, as you guys know on the X3, is all on the same level. More height, especially in the updated X3. There's a lot more height in the actual coach for this floor plan. Hope everyone had a good weekend. I've been down in the desert for a week. We did another virtual wine. We did Marathon Virtual Wine 3. It was a great event and met a lot of new people at Motor Coach Country Club, Desert Shores, and Outdoor Resorts Indio. Met a lot of good people, a lot of new people, and so I really appreciate everybody participating in these virtual wine events that we're doing. It's exposing a lot of people to marathon and to good wines. It's really cool to see it before a lot happens. That wiring is just beautiful. They say that there's 7 miles, they, meaning us, say that there's 7 miles of wiring in a coach. Now, all of this is schematiced properly by our engineering team, and everything, as you see, is bundled quite significantly. And when I mean significantly, it is above industry standard, and I don't refer to it as industry standard. I refer to it as Marathon standard. The Marathon standard on wiring is above and beyond. Very, very thorough. Wires in multiple locations are labeled. And you can see that just here with this setup of TechLink underneath the bed. Everything is just done so well because you guys already know the chassis is designed to go for decades. The house and the wiring, the plumbing. Look at you walking backwards, Armand. That's fantastic. It's supposed to go for decades just like the chassis. This needs to hold up right here for decades. So let's say this coach, 1344, 20 years from now is on its third owner or its fourth owner or what have you. There will be a schematic that will know that this entire setup is going to be behind whatever is right here. My idea is that this is going to be the galley, portion of the galley, maybe the countertops, maybe behind the dish drawer. Well, actually it tells me right here. Actually, it looks like this might be the opposite side. This might be, well...
Here's dishwasher here.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so I was right. The dish drawer is right here. So we're going to know, because it will have the original drawing schematics, that this is behind here, and it will look like that 20 years from now or longer because it was done properly on day one. And I love showing that because that's why it takes several months to build a coach, and that's why these coaches are the best in the world. Marathons, Prevost conversions are the best in the world for many reasons. This is one of them. Let's go check this out. Lot going on this morning. Got some custom coaches. The guys are working on a floor here on 1341. That's a custom coach. We're not going to go in there because we're going to respect the privacy of the owners of 1341. Congratulations to them. But here is 1343. H3 double slide. And before we get out of here, we're going to look at the exterior paint on a couple of these because beautiful paint jobs. But this coach, and I want you to really take a look at the step up. You'll remember in the X3, at this point, there was just a single platform. Now you've got these additional steps up into your salon. A major difference between the X and the H, and it's easily illustrated when there's no cabinetry in here. This coach is almost at the same place in production as that X3 we were just in, which is 1344. Keep in mind, 43, which we're in right now, H3 double slide, and 1344, X3 double slide, both of them are still for sale. Not a lot of coaches still for sale, you guys. It seems like as soon as we build them, they sell. That's what's going on in the industry right now. And when you build the best, it's the desirable best. I don't know what desirable best means, but I just came up with it. Maybe that's the name of my new album, Desirable Best. So I've shown this a lot on the show over the years, but it never gets old looking at it. To you know, my eye, it seems so complex. But when you look at it, it's just amazing to see. And everything is bundled so tight, nothing is going to move unless it is moved on purpose. And I think you can see right there. I see some friends from Louisiana and Key West. That's got to be Paul Lott watching in Key West. It never ceases to amaze me looking at this wiring and how much work Marathon's craftsmen and craftswomen go into building these things. You know, when we get this coach, and you've seen our shells, it's just a plywood floor and nothing else. Just the stainless steel chassis, which is the best chassis to build on. That's why Marathon builds on it. And then we come in and, you know, it goes to paint first, and then all this wiring is pulled. But after it's pulled, I mean, just look at this. Look at how these bundles are bundled every 6 inches or less, and they're all held against the wall every 6 inches or less. Here's a bundle, here's a bundle, here's a bundle, here's a bundle, and they're literally put into the walls. It really shows to me someone who sells these coaches. And you guys know that's my paramount job here, is to sell these coaches. It shows me what I'm selling is the best because we take the time and we engineer it properly. I will put our fit and finish, our quality, and our engineering up against any other converter. Absolutely beautiful. And just like we saw on 1344, the X3, right down here is the slide out. And Armand and I are standing in the scaffolding where that slide out will be. And right across the way, you can see a shell. That is an H3 double slide shell. Armand, can we go over there?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. We had someone ask what the R value is in the insulation in here, and someone in shell prep might know.
Yeah, you know, and that's a show all into itself. Good question. Thanks, Armand, for throwing me that. Someone asked about the insulation. So there's a whole nother show involved in that, because the insulation of these coaches is very, very important, and it is done very well. And at the same time, we do the insulation of the coach in here, and you could see, let me just give you a little teaser. You can see some of this insulation that's going to get covered up. And these stainless steel support beams here. So that's a show all into itself. But also, we can go and look, one of the most important things is the 20 kW PowerTech generator that is in every new Marathon. The insulation that is involved in that bay is incredible. You can turn on that PowerTech and have the door open, and it's loud. I mean, it's a 20 kW generator. It's a very clean, efficient way to get power. However, when you shut that door, you can't even, I mean, it's amazing the difference between an exposed, meaning door open, generator running, and a closed generator running. The insulation of that bay, we've got 35 plus years of engineering involved in that bay. All that experience basically means that it's very, very quiet. Let's look at this shell. Yeah, this is cool, you guys. So this is very, very early. This coach probably arrived over the weekend, maybe Thursday, Friday of last week, because you could tell this is how it arrives from Prevost. And one of the first things that our shell prep crew does is they literally bolt in to the actual structure of the coach the stainless steel pieces that support the ceiling. Now the ceiling, that is an amazing process of how we get that ceiling into here, and it's one of those things that we just pride ourselves on. But there's these brackets that are literally bolted onto the, and you could see a lot more of the insulation because not much is covered up. You saw that wiring harness in the back of that coach? I say wiring harness, but the entire wiring tech link system, this is where it goes on the back of this wall. There's some of the insulation from Prevost. Here's the slide out. And then we saw the driver's side salon slide out taken out on this side. Here it is, still in the coach. This entire thing will come out and be moved down there. Well, of course, this coach goes to paint first, so it'll be somewhere here on the production floor. Paint takes anywhere between 23 and, depending on the complexity of the paint job, it could take up to a month. But you look at this cockpit, this is how it was driven. Remember, we drive these coaches, you guys, all the way from Quebec, Canada. That's over 3,000 miles. That's the Prevost wheel with the smart features. And what we do is we customize this leather, but to protect it, we leave this cover on. You see this dash, this hard plastic dash. Look at this, here's an ashtray. All of this is kind of what you would see in a Greyhound bus, you guys, or a commercial bus, because that's what this is. And Marathon takes it and we leather wrap. First of all, we customize the entire dash. We don't use this dash. Our dashboards, our consoles, they're very similar aesthetically, but they're more complex. You guys know that. We've got the GPS that comes out of the dash here. We've got lots of different features here, and of course over here on the left side of the driver. All of this will be fiberglassed over, and that fiberglass is wrapped with leather. All leather wrapped all the way down here. In fact, right before we went live today, we were talking with one of our guys here, one of our craftsmen. His name's Clint. He keeps telling me he wears cowboy boots. And I've got a pair of cowboy boots, which is actually hilarious to see me wear them. But I told him we're going to do a show with me wearing them. He was telling me about a new kick plate that was designed that he's building right now. I believe it's on coach 1336. It's made of wood, and it's got these new lighting features. So I'm excited to get in here. So big thanks to Clint for showing us that, or telling us about that, because we're going to be bringing that to you. A whole new kick plate up here, and that's going to be installed in coach 1336. Cool to be able to see an H3 double slide shell right next to an H3 double slide that's fresh out of paint, and all the wiring's been pulled, and they're starting to get ready for the cabinetry. One more thing we can show you before we get out of here. Take a look at this. Talk about a clean slate. This is the bays of an H3 double slide. These are the best storage bays on any RV you will ever see. We've seen a lot of interesting things come into these bays. You know, there's some infrastructure that needs to get installed in here to make the coach operate properly and correct. Everything from breaker boxes, other safety features, wiring, and everything gets leather wrapped down here. But it's really cool to see it in its basic form when it just gets here from Quebec, from Prevost. Really, really cool. And you know, when you see the finished product, these things have, like this bay will have a big TV right here. This one will have a ladder. This one right here on this side will be our filtration system, or what I kind of refer to sometimes as the other side of our plumbing bay, because the plumbing bay is on the driver's side. So TV here, and then massive storage in bay 1 or 2. Massive storage. You could make it just straight simple, or you could have slide outs, or you could have a slide out with a barbecue and a refrigerator. And you know, we've done offices in these things. Going back, I know that the guy who has an amazing office in bay 1 of his H3 quad slide is probably watching this morning. That's just Marathon doing custom work. That's what we do. Very cool. Let's Armand, let's swing around and look at the bays. No, let's not look at the bays. We already looked at the bays. Let's look at the paint jobs. Kind of hard to see with the scaffolding in there, but this is a really cool paint job. That's 1343, the H3 we were just in. You can kind of get an idea with the bay doors up what that paint's going to look like. It's got a subtle Marathon logo right here, which is almost ghosted in there. And then if we go back down to 1343, of course, it being an X, the X3 has the stainless steel sides, so a little bit different of a paint scheme. But as you can see, we integrate the paint right into the stainless. And you can see that illustrated on the bay doors, which are also open. You got fans of the X3 and you got fans of the H3. Well, that's it, you guys. Thanks for hanging out with me, and a big thanks to everybody here on the production floor for letting us turn their music off for a little bit and showing everybody around the world kind of a glimpse of what's going on the production floor. So a big thanks to everybody on the floor here in Coburg. Yeah. Email me, malw@marathoncoach.com. These two coaches still for sale. Let's get them sold. Be yourself and do good things. I'll see you next Monday from right here. We're going to have, I think we're going to have a coach to show you next week. We're working on that. We'll see about that. But email me. Let me know if you're trying to get into a marathon. If you own a marathon and you're thinking about selling it, it'd be a good chance to get it in here with me. So email me, reach out to me, and I can help you with that too. All right, everybody, be yourself and do good things. Have a good week.